What's going on, everybody? I hope y'all had a good weekend. It was a rough weekend for me. Braves lost. Alabama lost. One of my kids is an Auburn fan. My father-in-law, he's an Auburn fan. They lost. So overall, the great state of Alabama took a beating this weekend. But we back at work today anyhow. I've had a few people ask me about my dingo. And, I've never really talked much about the dingo. It's a pretty big investment. So, I'm sure if I would have had somebody in this industry to talk about it and kind of put some of the things it can do into perspective prior to me purchasing mine, I would have felt a whole lot less anxious and like I was going out on a huge limb about it. But what we have is the TXL 2000. I think it's the biggest one they make. I know it was the biggest one they made at the time. It's got the telescoping boom, which is I had narrowed it down actually between a skid steer and this dingo, and there was two big things that made me go with the dingo. One is you're not sitting, you're standing. So you're standing behind the dingo. And from a safety standpoint, for everyone else on the job site around, I felt like that was a big plus. I just felt like it was a whole lot easier to kind of, essentially make sure you don't run into anything, or over anyone if you were standing on the back of the dingo. And your butt is actually the very, rear of it. Now there's a skid plate on the bottom that kind of keeps limbs and stuff from hitting you, but if you're not careful, you can run into some stuff. But we've not had an issue with that. Like I said, I mean, we're designed pretty good to keep from harming ourselves. So as far as hurting yourself operating the dingo, it's not a big deal, and it's a huge plus just as far as knowing what's behind you at all times. The other thing, like I was saying, is the telescoping boom. The reason I wanted that was because I knew when I got the dingo, the very first thing I was going to do was get a grapple. And we don't use the bucket much. We use the forks every now and then unloading trucks and that type of stuff. But 98% of the time that grapple's on there, and it does exactly what I needed to do. What we use it for is one of the things that I realized is we spent a lot of time loading up things. Like if we've done some debris removals around the 300 yard plus 300 yard mark, and I mean, these debris removals are always at a house that's 1,600 square foot, 3,000 square foot. Well, 70, 80 of the yards will be inside. So, all the rest of it's outside. And you're going around and you're having to pull stuff out of grass and all this other stuff. And it was just an absolute nightmare. And that was kind of what I wanted to solve. And I wanted to be able to have a capability to where I could just go do whatever. So that was why I got it. It cuts the time that it takes to do that kind of stuff down so much, it's unreal. And then another thing we started doing during these debris removals, like on the interiors, we'll just send two guys in and we'll say, hey man, get everything, just throw it basically out the back door in a pile, get it nice and consolidated, and we'll just pick it up with the dingo and put it on the dump trailer. So it's been a huge asset. There's no way that I would ever do this without one. I don't think a skid steer would meet the needs, especially after having the dingo. We've got a 20 foot by 8 foot by 4 foot dump trailer. So basically, it's a 26 cubic yard trailer or 24 cubic yard trailer. We could extend the height on it a foot if we wanted to. But even if we extended the height of it a foot, that'd be 5 foot sides, and it probably sits 2.5, 3 foot up off the ground. So 8 foot, that telescoping boom has no problem loading it. And, when you're getting paid by the yard, the quicker you can get it full, get it going, and get back, the better off you are. You can also, what we've done with it is on a lot of these overgrown yards, you get there, the grass 8 foot tall and all that jazz. You can go rent a bush hog attachment to put on the front of it, you know, for $200-300, and you can just run out there and knock it out. Now, that is a huge benefit as well. One of the challenges that we've had is just simply getting it to places. Originally, when I got this, I did not have this dump trailer, so we'd have to take 2 vehicles, and that was kind of frustrating. So when I did buy a dump trailer, the reason I got the one that's so big is so that it could haul the Dingo. So now 1 truck, 1 trailer, and the Dingo can go do huge jobs, you know, and these tree trimming jobs and all this other stuff. I mean, the Dingo just makes things so much easier. So it's been a good investment from a maintenance standpoint. We do all the maintenance in-house. There's not really anywhere around here to take it to get maintenance done. Not a lot of YouTube videos on that stuff, I will say that, but none of it's all that complicated, and they send a manual with it that, you know, if you read through the manual, you can pretty much figure out how to do everything. And we've had to do very little, to be honest. I've had it for 2 years, and we've done nothing but oil filters, oil changes, hydraulic filters, hydraulic changes. The fittings the hydraulic fittings that come with it are trash, and so, well, they didn't put any, you know, high temp, like Loctite on there, so the fittings back off. But every time they back off, we just put that stuff on there, put them back on there, and we've not had any issues. So I've been very, very happy with the Dingo. It was not the most money I've invested in this company on one specific thing, but it's up there. And I think now they're even more expensive now that, you know, all this COVID crap and all that good stuff. But we've done a lot with it. And another thing we use it for is we'll knock down and demo, you know, homes and like just kind of as filler work. You know, we've done quite a few demos. Now, we don't use the Dingo, obviously, to demo a home, but we can demo the home with an excavator and then do most of the loading, you know, with the Dingo. So, and I cannot remember what it will pick up, but I know it will pick up a pallet of sod, which I think is a ton, maybe right around a ton. And it picks up a pallet of sod, and that's about all she wants, so it's going to be somewhere in there. But, you know, I've been happy with it. If any of you guys are thinking about buying one, if you have any questions, just reach out to me in the comments and kind of, you know, ask me whatever, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability and try to help you guys out. But anyways, I hope everyone has a good week. I hope y'all get a lot of work done, make a lot of money, and you know, get 1 week closer to your goals. So y'all have a good day. See ya.